In the middle of the Civil War, a few months after Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, in March of 1863, around 3,000 mostly Irish dock workers went on strike. There had for a long time been a great deal of racial tension at the docks, as white workers often refused to work with black workers, but this grew greatly starting in 1848 when there was a large influx of Irish workers to New York following the Irish potato famine. Given that the white workers had often refused to work with the black workers, the existing black workers declined to join the strike, and other black workers were hired as replacements. A mostly Irish mob physically attacked the roughly 200 black workers, and police were able to break up the conflict at the time, but when a larger riot over the draft of the war broke out in July, violence around the waterfront was heavily targeted toward black communities and businesses that catered to them. One of the businesses targeted was called the Colored Orphan Asylum, located on Fifth Avenue. It housed over 200 children. One of the survivors of the attack wrote, quote, "The children, numbering 233, were quietly seated in their schoolrooms, playing in the nursery, or reclining on a sickbed in the hospital, when an infuriated mob, consisting of several thousand men, women, and children, armed with clubs, brickbats, etc., advanced on the institution." Reports indicate that an Irishman stood up to the mob, shouting, quote, "If there is a man among you with a heart within him, come and help these poor children." The report went on to say that on hearing him, the mob, quote, "laid hold of him and appeared ready to tear him to pieces." It did say this man taking the mob's attention may have provided enough time for the orphans to escape before the orphanage was burned to the ground. It took several days before federal troops were able to put down the mob and restore some level of order to the city. Officially, the death count during the draft riots was 119, but most believe the number is closer to 1,200. Following the riots, the Longshoremen's Association announced, quote, "The colored people must and shall be driven to other parts of industry." History is awkward.